Hey everybody, it's time to come up into the kitchen and have a little kitchen talk with Granna. I'm so glad you guys can spend a few minutes in the kitchen with me today, okay? But you guys know the routine. Before we get started, go ahead, look down at the bottom of your screen, right down there. Take care of all your business that you need to take care of. Get all that out the way. At the end of this conversation, you can come back and give me any comments or any reviews that you would like to give me, okay? All right, so let's get it popping up in the kitchen today. It's March. I'm still celebrating my birthday. I have on another t-shirt that I made, and it actually says 58 and fabulous. I know you can't see all that down there, but that's what it says. Still celebrating, still working on t-shirts. I'm gonna be having some more t-shirts coming your way here real soon, but I'm wearing what I've already designed the whole month. Okay, so probably throughout the whole month, you're gonna see something that Granna has thrown together, okay? All right. And shout outs to all the birthdays this month. Still sending out all the birthday wishes to everybody this month. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and get it started up here. Let's start this conversation off, okay? I don't know if you guys had a chance to check out the news, but I actually was watching the news not too long ago, and they was talking about this incident that happened down in Orlando, Florida, okay? So, you know, in the news, they don't really go into a whole lot of detail, so I went back and Googled it and read up on it, okay? This incident involved this little 6-year-old girl, okay? So this little girl was at school, and I guess sometime throughout that day, this incident took place. This little girl was, I guess, having a tantrum. She was throwing a tantrum, and the teacher was trying to calm her down. And by the teacher grabbing her, trying to calm her down, the little girl reacted by kicking the teacher, okay? So when that happened, of course, they called the police in. And these police, this particular policeman that came in, this officer that came to the scene and everything, they arrested this little girl. This is a 6-year-old little girl, okay? They arrested her. And it was so sad when I went back and I Googled it and watching the video on it. This little girl was crying. She was upset. She didn't understand what was going on. Now, keep in mind, this is a 6-year-old, okay? Of course, we as adults get all emotional and crazy when we're in a situation and the policemen are involved, and especially when it comes down to them talking about arresting you, you really get emotional and you get all, you know, all worked up and everything. So of course this little baby, this is a baby now, of course this baby is confused and don't really know what's going on. She's just confused. But this officer arrests this little girl, put her hands behind her back, and ziplocked her hands, you know, put a ziplock on this little girl's hand. And this baby is crying. This baby is pleading with this man, don't arrest me, let me go, let me go. I'll be good, I won't do it again. You know, she's pleading for this, you know, but, you know, some people I was looking at on social media was saying, oh, well, he was just doing his job. She kicked this teacher. Okay, so what? I mean, she kicked this teacher, and that was wrong, you know, but you got to understand, you got to put all this in the content. This is a baby. This is a 6-year-old. Kids throw tantrums. Kids have fits. During their tantrums, they're going to kick, they're going to hit, they're going to fall out on the floor and roll around, and they're going to do all this. They throw in their tantrums. You know, I'm not saying this baby should not have been held accountable for her little actions. I feel like the teachers should have reached out to her parents or her guardians or her grandparents or whoever that they had down for the contact. They should have contacted them and let them know what was going on with this situation, and giving them the opportunity to come and get this baby and try to calm her down and figure out what was going on with her. I think in the news clip that I read, this baby had some type of sleep sleep disorder disease, and it was saying something about she didn't get her rest the night before or something like that. You know, whatever the case was to make this baby have this tantrum, it's just crazy, because I understand teachers have a lot on them. I know, I get it. I have teachers in my family. Several of my family members are teachers, and they have to deal with a lot. And I've heard their stories when it comes to the kids and just dealing with their parents when they do reach out to the parents about something that's going on. You know, some of us as parents don't want to accept that our child is doing something or has acted out or something like that. Okay, I get that. You know, my daughter-in-law, she's a teacher. You know, she teaches in elementary school. I have a niece that's a teacher that taught in elementary school. You know, it's just crazy that it get to the point where you got to let a policeman come in and arrest a child. You know, this is a 6-year-old baby, and I keep saying a baby because I have 2 6-year-old granddaughters, and I could not even imagine having to deal with this situation or getting a call from my son or my daughter saying that this situation has taken place. I feel like that whole situation should have been handled differently. They definitely could have came up with some other ways to handle that. They did not have to let this baby be arrested or go through that process of being handcuffed and, you know, put into the back seat of a policeman car, because they went all the way, you know, put into the back seat. She was taken to the police station. It's just crazy that this whole incident got that far out of hand. I just don't get it. I just really don't get it. And I know I've been around, you know, kids when they go through their little tantrums and their little spats and, you know, and all that. I definitely don't believe in physical punishment when it comes to a child. You know, I just feel like there's so many different things could have took place with this incident for it not to get to the scream that it got to. I mean, that poor baby was probably scared to death. You know, you could see it in her face. You could hear it in her voice. She's begging this officer to not do this to her, to let her go. You know, she said, I won't do it again. I'm sorry. You know, please let me go. So it's just crazy, you know, and that's not the first incident that has happened like that in Florida. You know, about a month or so before this incident, there was another little girl, and this little girl had some type of behavior, ADD or something going on with her. And, you know, the same thing was that happened to this little girl, you know. So I think that, you know, this officer, I guess he felt like he was doing his job and he was doing what he was trained to do. But I feel like these officers need to have some additional training when it comes to something involving a child. You know, they should have something in place in the school system when a child is being disrupted or, you know, going through this. And I'm sure they do. I know they, you know, they have different techniques that they use or different steps that they go through. But I just don't feel like this incident should have got to where it ended up at, you know. And this is just Granna opinion, because I'm not a teacher. I'm not a police officer. I do not work with the school system. I don't know exactly what they have in place when they're dealing with disruptive behavior coming from a student or a child. So I'm not trying to bash or beat up on the teachers or anything like that. But I just feel like this situation could have been handled a lot different. And I wish it would have been handled a lot different, because on top of everything else that that baby had to go through, this is something that's right there in her mind, you know, that is going to also, you know, probably have her a little afraid of police officers and stuff. And it did say, you know, when I read this, that the officer handled the situation wrong, and I think they either suspended him or he got fired for this situation. But it's just all the way around wrong, you know. I'm sure they go through all kind of training and all kind of situations that they have to deal with, and during their training they put them through different scenarios and different things that they may come up to a face that they have to deal with. But I don't think they focus enough on when it comes to dealing with a child, you know, because he could not have had the proper training to deal with this child. You know, I feel like maybe he could have just talked to this child and calmed her down, maybe walk her outside and sit her down and talk to her, instead of going through that whole process of handcuffing, putting these ziplocs on these babies and putting her arms behind her back. You know, I was, when I was working, I came across a lot of cops and policemen that used to come into where I worked at all the time and just listen to some of the things that they have to go through, you know, and some of the cops are not as sensitive as others. I understand that. Same thing with teachers. Some of the teachers doesn't have the patience that some other teachers may have. And you know, I don't know the whole situation of how this teacher, because they did not interview this teacher or let her talk. I did not hear from this teacher. I don't know if it was a male or female. I think it was a female teacher from what I read, but I did not hear her side of the story, just what they put on there, that this teacher, I guess, tried to calm this child, grabbing this child, and that's when this child kicked her. So it's just an unfortunate situation. It's a sad situation. And it just makes you kind of wonder what this world is coming to, that a child has to be, a 6-year-old child, just for throwing a tantrum, has to go through, or had to go through, from just being a child and doing what a child does. So I just, I hope everything works out for this baby. I hope the officer that was involved with this, the teachers that was involved with this, get some additional training on how to handle this situation in the future if this ever occur again, and it won't get taken to the extreme that it did. So I just wish that, and I just really feel bad for this baby, that this baby had to go through this, okay? Now, like I say, this is just Granna's opinion. I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm not trying to bash anybody's profession. I understand how hard it is to be a teacher. It's hard just being a parent, and you only may have 1 or 2 kids, 3 kids, you know, when you are having to deal with multiple kids, you're talking about 10 to 20 kids at a time. So I understand that. I know that can be very frustrating. I know that can be very hard when you're trying to keep everybody in line. But I just feel like the situation was totally taken out of hand. It was totally wrong, and they need to do something about that, okay? So guys, hit me up with any comments you may have about this conversation, anything that you want to put on it, any of your reviews on it. Go ahead and hook me up with that. I appreciate it. As you guys go through your day today, you know what you need to do. You need to give a smile to everybody you come in contact with. If you come in contact with someone, give them a few minutes of your time. Let them vent for a minute. You never know what kind of day they're having. And just spread the love to everybody. Just spread the love, okay? So you guys have a great day. Get out there, enjoy your day, and I will catch you back in a few.